Hey guys, welcome back. It's Dave. It's been a little bit of time, but what I wanted to do was I wanted to get everybody up to speed on where I'm at in my endeavors as far as combining my models with artificial intelligence, the AI, to do the analysis. And where I left off last time in my last couple videos, I was using my matrix system grid, and I had the Chat GPT educated on what each factor meant, and then the AI was doing its own analysis of my grids based on two things. One, its own knowledge of just the elements of horse racing, and it's got a lot of knowledge. Okay, it understands the whole idea of pace and running styles and what makes for a race shape and all that. And then it was also taking in consideration my factors that I was given to them, and it was coming up with analysis. And I showed you in my last couple videos. But what I did was I took a little bit of time off, and I came back, and I recently, a few days ago, I went and educated the GPT with the factors of the pace progression model, mainly these over here. Not so much the actual working grid, okay, but the summary grid over here. And if you want to take a screenshot of this, if you want to drop it into a GPT, this is all I do. I go into a Google Doc, I put each of the factors in, and I define what each factor is. And I give a little bit of a general idea on how I calculate that factor without getting too deep into it. I just want to give it enough information that it understands how that factor applies to a race. And these are all the factors it's analyzed. And from there, what I do is I either copy it and paste it into ChatGPT right here in the box, or you could actually take a screenshot, like I said, and you could place an image in there as well, and it will read that. Now, if I go back to my grids here, the actual model that I'm using right here is pretty standard on the working side. And over here, I have the speed of speed, and I have the sustainability factors in there as well, which I've introduced both of those factors before in the past in other videos. And then I also plugged in an EL differential, where the early and the late is it's the early minus the late from each horse. T, which is the speed of speed, minus the V, which is the sustainability, okay? And it's coming up with either a positive or a negative number, and the Chat GPT is taking over from there and analyzing if there's a lot of pluses, high pluses like plus 15, plus 20, then it's going to lean more toward somebody off the pace. Okay, if the average, or the trending, I should say, EL differentials are more closer to zero, like the single digit pluses, or there's a lot of negatives, then it's going to lean toward more to the front of the pack. And I didn't even have to educate it on that. It already knew what to do there. All I had to do, like I said before, was plug this in, and then after that, all I do is, as I finish a grid, I'm gonna show you a grid. Here's Churchill Downs 3 from today. I do all the manual input, and what I do is I include these two columns too, because I want the GPT to take into consideration the running style and class. And all I do is I take it, I copy that, and I paste it. And as you can see, I paste it, and it comes out sloppy here, but GPT understands what it is, and what it'll do, I have it producing a nice little tip sheet now for myself. Let me get back to where I was. And there's the tip sheet. The tip sheet, you can instruct the GPT to include whatever you want on the tip sheet. I simply wanted let me go to my actual document. Like here's race 1 at Churchill. I wanted the tip sheet to have a nice header up here that told me the track, the race number, the distance, the class level, and the date. And then the only other information I wanted on this was the race shape and a comment about the race shape and about maybe some runners who may benefit from the race shape. And as you can see, some of these analysis have the actual runners in them, and some of them do not. And then after that, all I wanted was give me 4 selections, make sure to include 1 long shot as the 4th selection. And the new thing I had to do now was develop, based on my data that I've supplied, develop fair odds for the horse. What the GPT feels the fair odds based on my data, and followed by the probability of the horse winning. And the reason why we want the probability too is because I instructed to the GPT, I said, make sure that you're making odds following the rules of odds making. You cannot have, if there's a 10 horse field, you can't have 7 or 8 horses at 28%, 25%, because it goes over 100%. Okay, so out of all the horses, even though I'm only showing 4, if you were to add all these probabilities up of all the other runners too, it would come out to 100% or very close to 100%. And this is what it's doing for me right now. And this is all I'm asking for. I don't need this GPT to reproduce the same exact grid that I have here in a text style. I need it to take that information now and recreate it into a different style where it tells me what it feels the selection should be based on my data. Give me some comments about the horse. Give me the odds that you think are fair, win odds, along with the probability, and then I'll take it from there as far as the betting goes. And I'm very happy with this format. I had some luck last night. In fact, I had a boomer last night. I had let me go into our Discord here. If I go up to last night, and those of you that are in the Discord and you're watching this probably know exactly where I'm going to go right now. And that was it gave me a long shot watch on the 5 horse at Evangeline in the 4th race, and I played some other wagers, so I didn't want to put too much to win on it, but I ended up putting $3 to win on the horse, and it went off at 74-1. I got $225 back, and that's just a lesson there on trust your picks. You're not going to win all the time, but if you're putting your time and your effort into whatever it is that you do, whatever your model looks like, and you're coming up with selections, trust your selections. When they win, when they lose, they lose. But when they win, if your model is value based and you're looking for value, it's going to pay off. And that's pretty much all I wanted to cover today of where I am. If you would like me to throw this grid into the pace progression model download, I will. I'm not going to do any handicapping of any races here. I've done enough of that. If you have the pace progression model tutorial, you know how to input this information. You know how to change the fractions to ratings and everything. But I just wanted to show you guys where I am and how beneficial using the ChatGPT can be. And you can make it do, I can make any additions I want to this. I'm not going to do anything on here live, but I could say, for now on, can you make sure the analysis includes who you feel the pace setter will be? And then all of a sudden in the grid somewhere, it'll say projected pace setter and it'll give me the horse. But right now I'm very content with what it's given me. It's not taking up too much space. I can put together a sheet that fits 2 races per sheet. And as you can see here, if you look at Churchill from today, the selections were 3, 10, 1, and 8. The 10 did win the race. The 3 scratched late. The 10 won. And here, the 10 was an 8-1 morning line horse. The model had fair odds at 3-1. He actually went off at 2-1 and won the race. So the model nailed that morning line, or nailed the fair odds over the morning line. Here we have the 5-horse on top. The 5-horse did win the race, 5-2. It actually went off as an underlay of a 1-2 and 1. The 2, I did not have the 2 in that race. The 5 was my top play here. Actually went off fair odds 8-5. That actually won at 5-1, and I had 5 spot on him to win, and so on. So I mean, this approach here has allowed me to keep things simple. I'll look at any of these 4 horses and I'll look for the fair odds now, and I mean, I'm still not betting anything that's less than 9-2. But at the same time, if I see a horse if this 7 horse is fair odds 5-2, and I see him at 6-1, I'm jumping all over him. You know, same thing with any of these other 3. Okay, I look at the fair odds, this 3 horse 4-1. If I see him, I'm not going to look for 4-1, but if I see him significantly higher, like a 10, 11-1, I'm going to put some win money on him and see if I can, strike at my value there. All right, so that's all I really have for you today. And if you have any questions, as usual, comments, just throw them in the comment section. Give me a second here. Okay, I paused. I wanted to check this race out. Race 6 at Churchill. 3 won the race somewhat easy. It was a 3-10-2-4 finish. And I look at my table here for race 6 at Churchill. 3 was indeed the top play at fair odds of 5-2, and the horse won at 4-1. 3-10-2, the top 4 here had the trifecta. And I'm alive in a double. I think I played a double there, so I'm alive in a double in the next race for the next race. But at the same time, this is what I'm doing right now. Okay, this is what's going on. In case anybody's wondering why there hasn't been any videos, as I said before, after I do a couple videos that focus pretty much on the same concept, I'm not going to do a 3rd or 4th or 5th one on the same concept. Anytime I shift gears here and there, I'll throw a new video out there. So you may see me absent from the YouTube for a while. It's pretty much because everything's status quo. But I am in the Discord often. If I'm not in the Discord, it's probably because I'm not playing at the time. But if I'm playing, I'm throwing something in the Discord. All right. Thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you soon.